Welcome to Game of Life, Cheat Codes from Beyond. We spend an awful lot of time obsessed with our struggles, don't we?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, it's almost a human pastime at this point.
Quite. We act as if the only time the universe has anything meaningful to say is when everything is basically falling apart. But today we're doing a deep dive into the soul's syllabus, the lessons hidden within your moments of pure delight.
Which is such a refreshing change of pace, honestly. We're looking at L.A. Fairhoff's book, Seven Universal Truths from Near-Death Experiences, specifically Chapter 4.
Yes, chapter 4.
Yeah.
And we're trying to figure out why your joy is actually, well, serious business.
It is a fascinating shift in perspective. Fairhoff presents this paradox. We tend to view our lives as a series of random collisions, some lucky, some devastating.
It's just bouncing around like pinballs.
Exactly. But the source material suggests none of it is accidental. It introduces this concept of sacred expansion.
Sacred expansion. I mean, it sounds quite poetic, but what does it actually mean in practice? Is it just a fancy way of saying good luck?
Not at all. Think of it in terms of efficiency. Suffering is often a secondary driver for growth. It's what happens when we get stuck.
So joy is the primary engine.
Yes, exactly. Fairhoff argues that while your difficulties teach you what you are made of, your resilience, your grit.
Right, the tough stuff.
Right, but your delights, they teach you what you are made for.
I see. So the hard stuff proves I can survive the storm, but the good stuff is actually supposed to tell me where the ship should be sailing.
That is the idea, yeah. Fairhoff describes moments of joy, whether it's, say, a burst of laughter or a quiet morning with coffee, as breadcrumbs.
Just little clues left out for us.
Exactly. They aren't just pleasant distractions to help you cope with the real work of life. They are data. They show you what your soul naturally gravitates toward.
Data points. I usually just think of that as, a quick dopamine hit.
It feels like dopamine, sure, but the function is entirely different. The text talks about resonance. It argues that the soul speaks through the language of resonance.
That word gets thrown around a lot, though. How would you explain resonance to someone who isn't, say, deep into spiritual theory?
It's very physical. It's that hum in your chest when you are doing something that fits you perfectly.
Like a tuning fork.
Yeah, it is distinct from just numbing out in front of the TV. That hum is a compass pointing toward your true path.
And yet, we are terribly inept at reading that compass. We have this funny habit of treating joy like a waiting room.
How do you mean?
Well, we humans, with our earnest pursuit of self-improvement, we tend to treat joy as a pleasant but ultimately distracting byproduct of existence. We think, oh, a sunset, lovely, right? Now back to my existential angst.
Like happiness is just an intermission.
Precisely. As if happiness were merely a brief intermission before the serious work of suffering resumes. We basically throw out the data because it feels too good to be educational.
It is deeply ironic. We constantly ask, why is this happening to me when things go wrong? But we almost never analyze why things go right.
So how do we fix that? If you're supposed to learn from the good times, do you just need to smile more?
It requires a bit more active participation than that. On page 43, the author offers a specific practice.
Okay, what is the practice?
When a moment of genuine joy occurs, you don't just consume it. You stop and you audit it. You ask, what qualities or circumstances were present that allowed this joy to bloom?
So if I'm having a brilliantly good time gardening, I shouldn't just think, nice flowers.
Right.
I should be asking, what is it about this? Is it the solitude, the creation, the dirt under my fingernails?
Exactly. You have to isolate the variable. You write down what was present when you felt most alive. This list becomes your checklist for pleasure.
A checklist for pleasure. I quite like that.
It's a guide. If you realize that your deepest joys always involve, say, deep conversation and quiet environments, but your daily life is filled with small talk and loud noises, well, you have identified a structural misalignment.
That effectively removes the guilt from pursuing what you love, doesn't it? It frames it not as hedonism, but as alignment.
Yes, you aren't being lazy. You are following the instructions.
You're just reading the map.
The universe isn't judging your productivity. It is measuring your alignment. By ignoring what brings you joy, you are actually ignoring the map.
Well, that is certainly a permission slip I think we could all use.
Definitely.
If you are listening, I trust this was an insightful deep dive for you. You can find the book via the universal link in our show notes.
And we have a daily poll question down there, too. We would love to know what resonates with you.
Yes, please do share. Your feedback helps us understand how these cheat codes are transforming your game of life. Join us next week when we take a look at transforming our thoughts.
See you then.
Until then, Here's something to mull over.
Mm.
If your joy is a compass, where has it been trying to point you while you were too busy staring at your problems?